So let me now download the sample archive and let me show you the content. So it's the one CONL2 file, but basically the content is as I showed you. So one line, one token, and also the corresponding entity. So in our case, as I showed you previously, we used the tab as a delimiter because it was convenient for some other applications later, but since tokens won't contain tokens won't contain any white spaces, white space can also be used as a delimiter, so this is fine. So let me now upload this archive, and let's see the output. So again, the resulting archive is in downloads folder, and there it is. So so it's very short now, and this is normal, of course. So let's just see the original CONL file. So okay, we had one entity, and this is now the next entity with 2 tokens, entity with 3 tokens, and now these are grouped. So there it is, the first, the second, the third, and so on. Okay, so this would be the CONL02 to standoff, and now let's continue to now we can go to XML again as well. So let me just use the files that I already downloaded actually for the standoff to XML. So actually have them saved. It was standoff to CONL, right? And let me just those were just 2 chapters of the novel, if you will remember. And let me just for the sake of better system, let me rename it to XML. Okay, and I'm just going to upload the same archive here. Okay, and here is the resulting archive. So it's both chapters are now in XML formats, and let me just open it. So as you see, it was well-formed file, and let's see, that was our location entity, and that was our organization entity, and so on. So we have XML files here. Fine. So then we have the opposite direction, so XML2 standoff. This may be a bit more of a complicated, because these XML documents may contain different structural entities, different structural tags actually, and only some of them represent named entities. So this is something that we have to stress out here. So I'm just going to use the sample archive in this case and show you. So this is very, very simple, but again, it has the root tag and the paragraph tag. So these are tags that I want to keep. Actually, for a standard format, I want to ignore them, and these are named entities. So this is just the concept, and you can apply it to more complex files. So I'm going to upload this archive now, and so I have to say which are the tags that I want to ignore, that are not in named entities, and over here those that are named entities. So we had first name and last name. Okay, so let me just now go to downloads, and well, you see now this is a standard format, 2 files having the same name with txt and then extensions, and so the txt is basically the same because it's just content. I can just change it to XML, but you see that the entities are not we don't have tags around those entities anymore, but they are now here in the ANN layer. So there they are, and this is something that we can now upload to Brat, and it will display them correspondingly. Okay, So and we can also go to from XML to CONL. So we could just select any of the XML that I could just, I don't know, take the one that I obtained in the previous step, or let me just download the sample archive. It's all the same. Let me show you. So this is again just some XML file with all different entities, and we know now what we are expecting. So upload, and you see now here that this is the resulting file, and this is actually the one that I previously used for conversion from CONL to standoff. So we can just go from one direction to another as we need to have conversions. Okay, so in these are the conversion panels, and now I'm going to the panels that perform name entity recognition with different previously trained models. So for example, let me just again go here and download just text file. Okay, so it doesn't contain any annotations, and I'm just going to now run Spacey name entity recognizer, and also I want to check this option, because if I don't do that, and you remember that these txt files are actually XML files, so Spacey wouldn't know this. Spacey considers this text just a plain text, and it could contain that. It could just happen that we have some overlapping tags, some tags just placed in the middle of the structural elements. So I don't want that. So I am just going to now replace these regular less than and greater than signs with these just lookalikes, and I won't mess files up. I'm going to show you, and it's easy then to go back to XML files. Just go back and replace these characters to these ones. And so this was text in Serbian, so I'm going to go here and select which model, so I can have just person with first, last, or full name, or add role, or also gender. So I'm just going to go to the simplest one, and sorry, I just uploaded. I should have loaded the zip archive. Okay, and now this is the result. Okay, so the result is in both standoff and XML formats. So this is something we can upload to Brat, or this is the resulting XML. So let me show you how it looks like. So you see it's again an XML file. We could go back and replace these characters to this regular less than or greater than, and you see these are now entities that were annotated. So I want to evaluate this later, so this is why I'm going to keep this file. I'm going to just say here that this is something I want to evaluate, so I won't delete it. I will just save it for later. And let me show you okay, let me show you for the same text how the Stanford name entity recognizer performs. It also outputs text in XML format. So I'm going to do the same trick, and I'm going to select the same model trained on same text, also just with person entity. And okay, so let's see, again XML file, and so basically much or less the same, but different entities probably annotated. So this is also something that's convenient for later evaluation. Okay, And we are going now to the evaluation panel, so I'm going to go directly to this one. Maybe before I show you, I can also show you this visualization in automatic annotation. So this is, you can see this Spacey trained name entity recognizer directly here. So if you click it, you can just enter any text. It's trained on text in Serbian, so I'm just going to enter some text in Serbian, and it will also show me visually which entities were recognized. So let me just say something. Okay, and I'm going to say perform the entity recognition, and so this was my name, and it was recognized as a person, and also here. So again, we had also some this entity is also a person. I can also go here and select, for example, gender. So of course, this depends both of full names. So the performance of this model is not that perfect, far from perfect. You can read how it trained it in the paper published at NER&Beyond conference 2019. Okay, so let me go to evaluation finally, and let me go back to Brat first. This ANN file is something that, as I said previously, we consider gold standard, so something that is perfectly all annotated, all entities are recognized well. So I'm going to download this ANN. Okay, and I'm going to consider it gold, right? And you remember this, I run a Spacey model on the same text, and I just saved it here into to_eval directory, and this is exactly the format that this panel expects. So I'm going to zip now these two folders, and you can see here that gold folder should contain files downloaded from Brat, and to_eval are the same files, either also in ANN or in XML. If you have files in XML, then you can also use this text input here for visualization. So I'm just going to keep everything as it is, and since we had one entity, I want to have visually what was recognized by Spacey and what was not recognized. So let me upload now the archive, and let's see the outcome. So we have now created directory that was created for this chapter, but we had more files and we have just more directories. And since I uploaded the XML file, I can now have this HTML, and this is just visually what's in blue, that's the gold standard, and pink is magenta was what was recognized by Spacey. So you can see that some entities were recognized by Spacey that exist in the gold standard, but also some are just partially recognized, and some were not recognized at all. These are just the blue ones. And also we have different statistics over here. So for example, district mean. So you can read more about this tool here on GitHub. It contains documentation and description of all these relations, but let me just show you, for example, so it's just comma separated values files. So you can see over here which entities were in the gold standard and in the Spacey file, and also you see that they're these entities were in the same positions and they were recognized. So this is just for very interesting, very useful for different evaluations.